What's going on, guys? It's Aaron Rodwin with Blue Puffin Media. There's been a lot of new camera releases recently. Sony with the A7S3 coming out, Canon coming out with some new cameras, but those things are expensive. Being a beginning filmmaker, you likely have $500 or less to start out when buying your first camera. But we're gonna focus on the best and the cheapest camera for a beginning filmmaker. I'm gonna cut right to the chase here. My pick for the best beginner filmmaker camera is the A6000. I want to start out by saying I have a total bias towards Sony. I love their cameras so much. I'm using one of them right now, the A7R II. My first camera actually was the Sony A6000. Before I bought this camera 3 years ago, I had been using my phone to record, and guys, nothing wrong with using your phone. It's a great tool for beginning filmmakers. But at some point, you need to learn manual camera functions, and you need to get yourself a mirrorless or DSLR camera. The Sony A6000 did wonders for me in the beginning. Even though it was made in 2014, I'm going to prove to you why I think it still holds up today. Earlier today, I shot a bunch of test footage, so I'm going to show you that, as well as some of the first clips I've ever shot with this camera. For most of these shots, I'm using the kit lens too, so I'm not really cheating. I won't lie though, there was one shot with a squirrel who was looking extra thick that I had to pull out the telephoto for. Another thing to note, I did use a variable ND filter, which I'll put a link for in the description below. But other than that, guys, I'm really just using the basic kit lens that comes with the A6000. You can pick this camera up with the kit lens for about $500, but honestly, guys, you could pick it up on eBay for way less. So I'm going to show you this camera and some of the things that it can do, and let's get into the specifics.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Alright guys, so basically this is all the footage that I shot earlier today. I just wanted to have it play out so you guys weren't, bored out of your minds listening to me talk about specs. But I'm going to give some input on specs. You guys can watch these shots and see for yourself. The A6000 2014 camera really holds up well. Look at this shot right here. Exposed very properly. Minimum color correction, by the way. Very minimal color correction. So the first spec I want to talk about is that this thing shoots in 60 frames per second. This is something that is very standard with a lot of beginner DSLR cameras, but this thing shoots 60 frames per second at full HD. That's actually pretty huge. You see this shot of the guy walking right here, the guy running with his dog. Like, it looks pretty crisp. This has been slowed down to 40% in Final Cut. It only has 179 phase detection points, but it still holds up really well. I've never had a problem with it. The APS-C crop sensor is definitely a downside. It's not full frame. That's something you're going to have to upgrade to in the future. But as you can see, the resolution looks really good. Not necessarily as good as a full frame camera like the Sony AR2 that I shoot on wood. But in some of these shots, when exposed properly, it's hard to even tell. Sony's color science is something else, I'm telling you. Some of these shots, man, very little color correcting, no color grading, and basically right out of camera, they look beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So for a beginning filmmaker, someone who might not be as comfortable color grading or color correcting, you can get a very decent looking image right out of camera. This thing's got a ton of other specs. It's got Wi-Fi built into it so you can send yourself pictures right from the camera. It's got a clean HDMI output. It's got a nice OLED electronic viewfinder with 1.44 million dots. The last thing I want to talk about is that this camera is light as hell. It comes in with the battery included at 12.13 ounces. Depending on what lens you put on, it might be a pound, it might be 2 pounds max. That small size is going to come in handy for travel, especially for vlogging, stuff like that. Because it's so lightweight and compact, you can basically put it anywhere. You could fit this thing in your pocket if you wanted to. The reason I think this is the best camera for filmmakers that are just starting out is simply because it is so easy to use and it produces a good image every time. It's got the basics and everything you need in a camera when you're starting out. So there you have it, guys. My overall pick for the best filmmaking camera of 2020 for beginner filmmakers. Sony A6000 all the way. When it comes to prosumer cameras, Sony is consistently killing the game. So especially when you're buying new lenses that are E-mount for Sony, that's going to help you a ton when you're upgrading your cameras later. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe in the comments below, and let me know if I messed up. Comment down below your top pick for the best filmmaking cameras for beginners. I'll be leaving links down below for everything I've mentioned in this video, as well as some other little things here and there. But with that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.